Welcome back to Halloween Horror Reviews 2024. I hope you guys have been enjoying this year's reviews because, man, I've been having such a great time covering horror films for you this month. And I just want to say this right now. I cannot believe that we are nearing the end of the month. I mean, it's absolutely crazy, but hey, you know what? As they always say, time flies, we're having a great time, but man, I've been having a blast. In case if you guys have been following me since the beginning of the channel back in 2011, you will all know that I actually did a review of this movie when I did my Halloween Horror-thon back in 2011. The video was delayed because of big copyright issues, so this is, I guess you can say, my definitive review for this wild ride. Moving on to today's review, I'm here to talk about 2003's House of a Thousand Corpses, written and directed by Rob Zombie in his directorial debut. In the events of House of a Thousand Corpses, we follow two couples as they travel amongst the backroads of Texas in hopes of finding and writing about urban legends of murders. However, and unfortunately, while amongst their journey, they become captives of, let's say, a very, and I mean a very sadistic family. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming back to my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to them. It's a feature video, it's a feature review, a top 5, a reaction, whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not gonna miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And for those of you who are coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back, everybody. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into House of a Thousand Corpses.
Damien!
This movie, guys, for those of you who know me very, very well, one of my favorite artists of music is legitimately Rob Zombie. I absolutely love this guy as a musician, and I got the opportunity to see him live last year, and as in terms of putting on a show, Rob Zombie puts on easily one of the best live performances I have ever seen from a rock, and he brings down that fucking house. And by the way, just so you guys know, when I saw him last year, he actually did play the House of a Thousand Corpses song, which is, by the way, on the Sinister Urge album, which I do happen to have right down there on record, and I play that record at the very minimum at least once a month. Like, I love that record, and that song is a great song. It's creepy, it's foreboding, it's ominous, and how the song starts following its ending, it is a hell of a track. But anyways, let's get on to this movie. This movie came out back in 2003, and I was maybe at the time, maybe 11, maybe 10, I want to say, when this movie came out. So as you all can imagine, no way in hell I was going to see this movie in the theater. I believe I was in an FYE, I was staring on the horror section. It wasn't quite Halloween time yet, but I did see the cover for House of a Thousand Corpses, and of course, seeing that cover made me go like, I need to see this movie, holy crap. Even before I saw this movie, I was already a big Rob Zombie fan, and this movie, watched when I was a teenager, it really was like going through a colorful, demented, haunted house B-horror movie ride. Like, that is the best way I can describe how I felt watch this movie for the first time. And no joke to you guys, I never really gave this movie another rewatch, even though ever since I saw this movie for the first time as a teenager, I have always had a fondness for this movie. But then again, it's not only just because I'm a big Rob Zombie fan, but also because this style of filmmaking really is just, it's grimy, it's very grindhouse-like, and it's just the type of filmmaking that really only a guy that Rob Zombie could actually pull off. Getting my schedule for this year's Halloween horror reviews, I decided to do a video on this movie. So guys, I popped this movie on last night. This movie is literally as B-movie and as colorful as it gets when it comes to making a style of movie like this. And that is good. I mean, at least in my personal opinion, some people might be turned off by this movie, especially in certain bits where it does get, quite frankly, very graphic. Do not get me wrong. But at the same time, really, in the 20s, there are at least I could think of, at least 30 movies I can have on the top of my head that are 50 times worse than House of a Thousand Corpses. To be fair, I will say this right now. House of a Thousand Corpses is not devoid of its flaws because there are plenty of flaws. Not only do I find this movie quite underrated, at least in my personal opinion, but man, I really dig this movie. The performances in this movie, I believe, are not only fun in terms of the actors that I'm thinking of right now, but there are two actors in particular that I think, absolutely without a doubt, steal the damn show from everybody else. But there are a couple of actors that I gotta talk about here. First of all, I gotta mention Rainn Wilson, who portrays one of these people of the couples that's going around the Texas backroads. I really liked his character and his fascination with these urban legends. I really liked his character a lot. Walton freaking Goggins is in this movie, and you know what? For his screen time, I thought he was actually pretty freaking good in this movie. Like, I really liked Walton Goggins. Another person that I gotta talk about is Sherry Moon Zombie. Yes, Rob Zombie's wife, who, man, Sherry Moon Zombie does a really good job of portraying, let's just say, someone that's a little crazy, little out of their mind, and man, oh god, there are a couple of bits where she put me on the edge of my seat. There are two in particular that are the real standouts. One of them is Bill Moseley. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, as Otis. Wow. Bill Moseley and this movie and The Devil's Rejects. Oh my god. You want to talk about a guy that will literally put you on the edge of your seat, like the moment you even see his character in this movie? Like, talk about somebody that will make you, you either piss or shit in your pants, or you'll do the combination of the two. I'm just saying. The scene star of this movie is Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding. He may not have the most screen time of this movie, but oh my god, when he's on that screen, he chews up that series. And one of my favorite sequences, well, I'll play a small bit of it, is this scene right here, because man, it's just hilarious, and you can tell that, like Sherry Moon Zombie, he's having a great time. Roll the clip.
I'm gonna count to 10, and you're gonna hand over all the cash, or I'm gonna splatter your grease paint mug across the state line. 1.
Fuck your mama.
2.
Fuck your sister.
He is seriously so good, not just in this movie, guys, but also in The Devil's Rejects. Something else I gotta talk about that I really dig about this movie is Rob Zombie's directing in this movie. It is very, very clear that Rob Zombie's films are just not for everybody. Like, they are just not, because Rob Zombie, the way how he makes his movies, there's a certain style, a grit, and a certain tone and atmosphere that Rob Zombie puts in his movies that I can definitely see some people calling very off-putting, very unsettling, to the point where they may feel sick to their stomach. Rob Zombie essentially made the colorful, demented, wild ride haunted house movie. That is the best way, with some demented and sadistic parts in it. I mean, those parts are very far and few in this movie, thankfully, but still nonetheless. For Rob Zombie's directorial debut, he does some very cool things in this movie in terms of how he moves the camera, in terms of the color grading, and it's the overall color palette of this movie. But for his first time making a movie, I thought he did a pretty damn good job. Is this movie scary? Is it suspenseful? Is it tension-filled? Yeah, Rob Zombie does such a really good job of winding that tension, especially in certain sequences where there's a great sound cue in the score, which, by the way, the score of this movie is really, really good. There are certain bits where he fakes out, which I thought was really, really well done. But in other sequences where he reacts to the tension and something really shocking is about to happen, oh boy, to say I was on the edge of my seat, almost biting my nails in suspense, Yeah. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is when one of the characters near the end comes upon this lair. And oh my god, it legitimately feels like you're watching like a set from one of Rob Zombie's music videos, but he put it into a movie and he takes you in through this. I mean, ride is some word I can say, but that's not even close to what I can describe to how the ending, or at least the third act of this movie feels. But man, there are bits of this movie where it just gets.
Happy parents, you old fuck!
Like I had mentioned to y'all earlier, as much as I enjoy this movie, it is definitely not devoid of its issues. There is one performance that I could not stand, and that is Chris Hardwick as one of the main characters. Chris Hardwick, I'm a fan of. I think Chris Hardwick is a brilliant comedian, and when he was doing his talk shows, like the talk things that he was doing, especially for AMC, I think the guy is entertaining. But man, Chris Hardwick in this movie annoyed the hell out of me. And let's talk about that wig he was wearing. Come on. Chris Hardwick gets into bits in this movie that could have easily have avoided a couple of situations in this movie, and there are some bits where I was just thinking, okay, Baby Firefly, just waste him, just take him out, please, get him out of this movie right now, please. As much as I like Rob Zombie's direction, there are some things about what he does in terms of style that are really big distractions. Rob Zombie does some very interesting things in terms of transitions. Like, for example, there is one particular thing that he does when he does some cutaways, and he puts these, I guess, these thermal filters in transitions. I mean, style, sure, and in terms of creative direction, I completely get it, but every time that it happened, it kind of took me out of the movie, and there is one particular bit that could have been scary as hell, and it could have been, like, one of the most, like, probably could have been the best scene in the entire film, but he had to put in that color thermal filter in there. If Rob Zombie had put, like, a 16mm grainy filter on this thing and actually shot this way, the way he shot those, like, those footage bits that, like, were act like we're not supposed to see, this sequence could have been one of the best scenes in the entire film. But it's just the fact that he shot, or he made the scene look like almost like a thermocam. It didn't work. There are also some shots he puts the filter on because, like I mentioned you guys earlier, this movie does have some pretty graphic and very disturbing content, so I imagine he put that filter on there as a way to avoid an NC-17, because this movie, if you have seen it, it's pretty nuts, to say the least. The opening scene of this movie, I think, could have gone down as one of the coolest openings in a horror film, legitimately, because how this movie opens up, I think, is freaking awesome. Until this bit happens. Why was that needed? Like, why? Was it meant as like an instant replay type of thing when it was shot in the editing room? There are also a couple of sequences where Rob Zombie does like a split screen type of thing, or he does like a mirror image, and again, for style purposes, sure, I get it, but did it fit and did it need to be in there? No, I don't think it needed to be in there. So overall, House of a Thousand Corpses is a colorful, crazy, wild, and a demented ride. And coming from Rob Zombie, I expect nothing less. All in all, I'm gonna give House of a Thousand Corpses a 3.5 out of 5. While House of a Thousand Corpses may not be for everybody, and I completely get that, but for me personally, this movie is a wicked good time, and I am definitely gonna be rewatching this every year in October. I hope you enjoyed my review of House of a Thousand Corpses. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.